Hey everyone, I finished watching the next episode of Street Sharks Shark Source. This is a pretty good episode. The beginning is really nice. We have the sharks hanging out at Shark Central, or Shark HQ, or whatever it's called now. Anyway, each of them reminisces about their father, and it's like a really subtle moment. We get like the feeling that he was a real family man. He really cared for his sons. He loved them. He always took an interest in whatever they were doing. And I always thought that was such a cool little subtle character moment. So then after that, Benz reveals he has some new equipment for the sharks to go test fly. Again, alright. That's replaced the car chases, I guess. Anyway, while they're out test flying their new vehicles, they see these couple of kids climbing across a scaffolding beam, and one of them slips and almost falls. He's hanging on to his friend, and so the sharks go over to try and help him. And before the sharks do, the guy in the sky dude in his helicopter comes over. It's nighttime. How long is he flying around? Like, doesn't he just do this for his show? Like, he has like a radio host show or something? Does he just fly the helicopter around all the time? Is that his life? Huh. Whatever. Anyway. The sharks save the kids, and Ben's down on the ground happens to see this suspicious trail of slime.
Unidentifiable slime on the ground.
So then, meanwhile, Paradigm has repaired the shark bot and he sends it out to catch the sharks. Let's see. Meanwhile, Ben's and the sharks, they're following
The slime.
to the underground city. Uh, yeah, they find an underground city with like a bunch of like little homes built into the walls of the interior of a cave, and there's these dinosaur reptile-looking mutants down there. Yeah, this is probably the weirdest the show has gotten so far, and this is a weird show full of mutants and things. But yeah, now there just happen to be underground mutants. What was their origin? Were they people? I don't know. Are they some kind of ancient creature? I don't know. Are they aliens? I don't know. Are they dinosaurs? I don't know. But anyway, they mentioned that Dr. Bolton came down and helped cure their genetic instability. There's like a lead dino guy who's talking to the sharks, and he says, "We were sick from genetic instability." And I looked it up, and apparently one of the major effects of genetic instability is cancer. So, is this episode implying that Bolton cured these dinosaur guys' cancer? Huh, whatever. Anyway, there's a weird little bit where the sharks see, let's see, let me see. Yeah, they see this little egg hatch into a baby, and the weird thing is the baby's born with a diaper already on. Was that a genetic modification that Bolton gave them? That's weird. Anyway, there's this juvenile dinosaur mutant thing who just wanders out, and it's really weird later on. The cavern mutants, they make a huge deal about this. None of us have ever left the cavern before. And one of them says, in the excitement of your arrival, he must have wandered off. He barely even noticed that Sharks and Benz were there. Whatever. And also, like, it's not that far. Like, he just walks and he's right outside. Okay, whatever. Anyway, the juvenile mutant. Oh, yeah, and the juvenile mutant. They never reveal his name, so I'm just gonna call him the young mutant or the juvenile mutant. He has a really annoying voice. I think they actually got a kid to do his voice, and it's not the best actor. Like, he has a good voice, it's just he can't really emote properly. Like, his tone is exactly the same, no matter what he's saying or what he's doing. So anyway, he wanders outside the cave, he looks out, he sees buildings for the first time. Wow, I never knew this was here. Oh, wait, no, he says it more like, wow, I never knew this was here, said Mom. Anyway, the Soviets just happen to be flying their helicopter over, and the little mutant looks up and waves at them, and so Slash is like,
Dr. Paradigm, we see a weird mutant that we've never seen before.
and Paradigm is like, cool, capture it, and sends Sharkbot goes down, to help the Soviets capture the young mutant. And then they hear him calling for help. Let me go. Stop. Help me. Bolton. that poor little mutant has the worst voice actor. So anyway, what's going on? Anyway, the Soviets, they capture the young mutant, and he's held captive up on the helicopter. And the weirdest thing, he's like all wrapped up in these metal things, but he can still call for help, even though his mouth is like shut. I don't know. Maybe he's a ventrilo. Maybe that's a mutant ability. Whatever. Anyway, let's see. Jab jumps in. He brings down the helicopter, and then Slash and Slopster abandon the helicopter. And this was a really weird bit at first. I thought, did they just leave the mutant behind? Because the sharks are chasing after Slash and Slopster. They completely forget about the helicopter. And I thought it was so weird because I was like, isn't the little mutant dude still in there? And then at the end of the scene, he's with Paradigm at his lab. So I was like, wait, what happened here? So I rewound it and I found out, okay, so what happens, let's see, Slopster has his motorcycle on the helicopter. Slash ties the mutant to his motorcycle, but we don't see it being tied to the motorcycle. Slash is like tying just something out of frame.
Okay, Slopster, he's all aboard.
And then Slopster goes, and whenever we see Slopster, we never see the mutant anywhere on his motorcycle. He's not tied to the back of it. He's not like on a thing being pulled behind it. He's not on the front of it. He's not sitting on the seat with Slopster. So where is he? All I can guess is that this was a massive, like, animation error. Like, this is probably the biggest animation error we've ever had in Street Sharks so far, where an entire character just disappears. A plot-relevant character. And also it's weird because we don't hear him call for help anymore. Like, he was calling for help when he was on the helicopter, so why not when he was on the motorcycle? Whatever. So anyway, the mutant's taken to Paradigm's lab. Paradigm becomes paranoid because, I don't know, maybe he's just excited. He has a new life form to experiment on. So then, there's a weird thing that happens. So anyway, then there's a really weird bit where, let's see, Paradigm tells Reptile and, who was the other one there? Slopster is there. Let's see, Reptile has to power up the machinery, so he opens up this little fuse box and just zaps it. That won't cause problems or anything. Anyway, then a weird thing happens. They fall down trapdoors. Paradigm doesn't see it. At first I was like, did Paradigm booby trap his own lab? And they fell into a trap somehow? And then, let's see. Oh, I just realized I misspelled something in my notes here, and the autocorrect didn't fix it. That's weird. How come the autocorrect keeps missing things? Okay, going back to my notes here. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Paradigm suits up in that armor we saw a couple episodes ago, and then we see this big shadow, and then the wall just boom, crashes right in. We see like a silhouette come in, and it's the mutated Dr. Bolton. And Paradigm, for some reason, is really scared of him. Like, he made Slopster. That's pretty freaking scary looking. And yet Bolton scares... I don't know, maybe he doesn't know what kind of mutant Bolton is, and that's what scares him? Anyway, there's a really cool bit. Bolton, and we see in shadow and silhouette, he picks up Paradigm, just slams him right against the wall, and then rips his helmet off, rips his armor off. And that was crazy. And, I remember as a kid, this was a really cool moment, because we never see Paradigm or Paranoid without the armor. Like, this is the most exposed he's ever been, and, like, usually we only ever see his face mutate. There's the flash, and then he gets the big teeth, his nose disappears, his voice gets all crazy. With the armor off, we see his entire body is, like, mutating into, like, kind of reptile-like. He has fins on his arms, he's got scales, he's got like weird duck feet now. Yeah, he's pretty messed up looking. So anyway, the mutant escapes along with Bolton, and back at Shark Central, the Sharks receive the mysterious email telling him that the mutant was returned to his family. The sharks go to the underground city and find out that it's all gone. It's all like just wiped clean. There's no evidence that they were ever there. Then Streaks looks over, or wait, who is it? Doesn't really matter. They see a piece of Paradigm's armor, so they lift it up, and there's a note inside. They take out the note. It's signed, Love, Dad. And that would have been a cool moment to end on, but then they add, Jawsome. Okay, Jawsome. Ending that works as well as anything else, I guess. So yeah, this was a really good episode. I really like this one. It's really action-heavy, but most of it's good action. There's the weird animation error of the mutant just disappearing for a while. That was weird. Oh, and also, speaking of the animation, it's really herky-jerky in this episode, but it's not bad. Like, the last episode was really hard to look at sometimes. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Shark of Steel. It was a really poorly animated episode. This one, still not the best animation. Like, there's some real choppiness going on. But overall, like, it's nicer to look at. Like, if you were to freeze frame this, it looks nicer. It's just in motion. It's very stilted and stiff looking. So it's really cool. The sharks are closer than ever to finding their father. We have new allies with the cavern mutants, even the one who can't voice act. Oh, and we get to see Paradigm and how inhuman he's become, and that's such a cool moment. I remember being a kid and seeing this. That just blew my mind, being like, whoa, that's what he looks like. He's like turning into a monster. Ironically, the whole show is about monstery people, but it's kind of interesting that the sharks and like their allies aren't really seen as monsters to the viewer. Even the Seviets aren't, but Paradigm is like truly weird and like this weird otherness about him. That's kind of cool. I like that Bolton is kept in silhouette and shadow. That's a cool little running thing. Although we get a few clues to his appearance, like the trail of slime is supposedly from him. So he secretes slime. He's got big claws. Oh, and there's a shot of him, like, big hulking, and we see, like, little shine in his eyes, making me think he still has glasses on, possibly. That's a neat little detail. So, yeah, that's all for this one. This was a great episode. Looking forward to the next one. See ya.